Oh, there we go. Can you hear me okay? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you as well. I'm sorry. I'm on the road and so I'm doing it from my car.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, I think we're good. I can see you just fine and I apologize. I had to do it from my car because I was on the road, but it seems like it's working okay
Yeah, no,
on my end.
it's working fine. So yeah, welcome to Pitch Investors Live. I'm excited to talk to you. I'll give you a little bit background about me, and would love to hear what you
Sure.
guys are doing.
That sounds great.
Great. So I'm Gayatri Sarkar. I'm the general partner of SportVest. We are a sports VC fund investing in future of sports. We are a fund on blockchain. So our focus is investing in something that lies in the intersection of sports, finance,
Right.
blockchain, health, and wellness. And my background is I work for Fed, Goldman Sachs in the banking areas, work for venture capital, hedge funds, and would love to know what you guys are doing and about your product.
Oh, absolutely. That's wonderful. It's actually interesting because I'll go into a little bit about what we're doing for sports, and we actually did submit a proposal to the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, so my name is Gloria B. Cordero, and I'm the CIO for SciX. We are a medical device software producing company. We also produce wearable device applications that monitor, predict, and prevent different medical conditions and life-threatening events by alerting the patients, their doctors, or EMS if the person is non-responsive. There are different devices that we're working on, but currently we have been taking a look at the heart and devices like this ring that would monitor the heart rates and be able to predict if a heart attack was to occur and be able to then alert the EMS or the patient before it actually happens. The other proposals that we have out there are for brain initiatives, and they are with the NIH. The NIH selected our company back in April to help us secure government contracts and projects, and also to actually have clinical trials and get the FDA approval for a lot of this technology. A lot of what we're doing right now is submitting the proposals with them and going through the process to be able to secure the projects themselves. And like I said, 4 of them are brain initiative projects, one of which is to understand concussions and understand the predictive analytics that can assist with ameliorating the conditions and preventing life-threatening events for that condition. It is something that we not only propose to the NIH, but we are working with an AR/VR company that is producing physical therapy AR/VR gaming so that they can actually help extract the data, and we can then aggregate that data and be able to help the NFL.
No,
Um,
this is amazing. I think what you guys are doing is some of the use cases that we invest in. So I'm pretty excited to know further details about it.
Absolutely, and we can send you a lot more documentation about it because it's not just us taking all of this into the blockchain and actually having smart contract algorithms set up to monitor, predict, and prevent these conditions, and also to distribute the distribution of this data to go to all patients and become a variable or variables, new variables that can actually help physical therapists and doctors really with the type of treatment that they give patients. But it's also the AR, VR aspects of it and the artificial intelligence from what these gaming and gamification exercises are being integrated into what we're trying to accomplish. And with that collaboration, you will realize that there's a lot that can be done
Right.
for physical therapy for people that have strokes and are trying to ameliorate that and come back into full functioning. You do need to have these brain initiative projects in place to really understand it. I would love for you to speak to our neuroscientist and our other co-founder. She was ill today and she couldn't join us, but she can tell you all about Brain Initiative, and she is a neuroscientist. So she has conducted a lot of research on neurology and a lot of different brain conditions, Parkinson's, concussions, you name it. And she can really go into the medical aspects of what we're looking into as a part of these projects that we have with the NIH.
No, this is great. Can you talk some? You said some of the use cases that you have already been looking at, but what's your focus right now? Because I know there's concussion, there is also health and wellness, that's related to the people who are at advanced age, and there can
Right.
be other areas. So, what are your top, maybe top one or top two focus areas?
We are going to focus on athletes, athletic professionals as our main focus, and secondary would be gerontology.
Okay.
We're actually looking at that as well, and we did propose that as a part of our proposal to the NIH. We are still working on more. There is one more proposal for the actual device development with the NIH. We are working on that. That's not due until January. So we have just been working with the doctors that we want to conduct the research with, and we are trying to partner up with several universities that are looking into more of these conditions in those different areas that you are mentioning, and actually look at different case studies, not just the ones that we are thinking about or that we have access to, because we are also working with the VA hospitals, and that's the reason why we're focusing on the first being the athletes, and then gerontology, and then we're also looking at the VA patients. But there are so many cases and so many variables to really take under
Right.
consideration. And for us, we want the medical professionals to be a part of our team and give us that advice and that guidance. And that's the reason why we're partnering up with a lot of medical professionals.
No, this is great. Can you tell me that why you decided, like your team came together, and why you guys decided to do something like this?
Absolutely. So for me, I mentioned this in previous conversations with other people, but for me, it's a passion project because my grandmother passed away from a heart attack, and we wanted to create devices that could predict these types of life-threatening events. Because if we can prevent something from occurring, it really does make a significant difference. And why be proactive?
Right.
Why be, let's
Reactive.
be
Let
reactive, right? Yeah, why be reactive? Let's be proactive. Let's really do something that will enable people to really take ownership of their health. And really that's the key, is to try to help people understand their own health condition and have peace of mind of knowing, okay, now that I have this device and it's predicting my conditions, whether it's worsening, whether it's getting better, at least now I understand it and I'm able to do something about it. And that's really the reason why we are so passionate about it. All of us were from different industries, but we were all looking at how do we ameliorate conditions that will help people live longer and be healthier. And it came together that we just decided, let's look at wearable devices. Let's see how we can integrate this into the medical community and make a significant difference with what we're doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is a great cause, and as I said, that it's better to be proactive than reactive. And there are
Right.
symptoms that we are seeing there, but losing athletes at the prime of their career, and especially to concussions and other things, is a huge problem in the sports area.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of concussion helmets and other things that we are looking at, some of those use cases. But I would like to know a little bit more about the technology that you guys are using, that how the product is getting integrated and how the technology gets translated into the data, and also the how you are acknowledging or validating some of the medical devices, or how are you notifying, are you notifying 911, or
Yeah.
how do you collect the data?
Oh, sure. I can go into that. So what we've done is we started this back in 2015, and what we were doing is we just had a virtual machine, and we were taking a look at just programming the devices in themselves and the tags. And we were utilizing artificial intelligence and deep machine learning to just aggregate the data and then send notification. And so then we started looking at the thresholds of different conditions and saying, okay, what is a threshold for this condition? How can we now program it so that it gives me 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes before that occurs? And we had to really look at the data, just looking at sample data really at first, and our own data, and trying to predict what would be a threshold for it, and working with a lot of professionals within the medical community in order to understand what those predictors are, because we're programmers, but we need to program the right information. And I think that's the significant difference as well with us, is that we try to look at every variable, and then we sit with medical professionals like physical therapists and doctors, and we ask them, is this the right variable? This is what we've found.
Okay.
Is this correct? And then my team goes in and we program it so that the notification is going to look for that condition and start to aggregate that data and say, okay, whenever you see the heart rate at this rate, let's take a look at these other conditions. Is the person sweating? Is there a pain level? All of these different conditions can predict a heart attack, right? But there are more than one. And so we had to take a look at every single variable for that, and then start to understand where those thresholds were to program them. Then we took all our algorithms, and we actually were using IBM's blockchain platform to really develop our set up the actual backend, and actually scrape all of the data and all the data collections that we are extracting, some of which are going to be patients that will be placing those in there, or the doctors themselves that will be placing that data within our system. However, we are also working with the NIH and gaining access to that data collection, so that there could be a consensus algorithm that actually utilizes all data, so that we can actually start to predict at higher levels and have better baseline. We really do need that, and we're testing everything with sample models, but with the access of the NIH database and their collective data, we will be able to utilize those better baselines to predict and be able to constantly monitor the conditions that we're looking into. So all of that is in our blockchain. There is, before the person is added onto the blockchain in terms of their data, their patient data, they are masked. So they will register their device, and their identity is masked, so that on a front end, they see data that is filtered in for themselves, and in relation to other data, but their identity is never. It's a permission-based blockchain anyway, but it's never. It's never in jeopardy. It's quite secure. And we had to do that for HIPAA compliance. We are HIPAA compliant. We are constantly looking at security and how to integrate most of this technology so that it is very secure for patients and their data.
No, this is incredible. I think there's a huge use case what you guys are doing, and I really liked it because it lies completely um, intact with what we are looking at to invest in. Can you talk about where you are when it comes to fundraising right now?
We just started fundraising and talking to investors. We did try a pre-ICO, just as a private ICO with friends and family. And we did go through the process of getting the ERC20 token, which is a utility token. It was approved by our legal team, and we were able to initiate it. We left it open for about 15 days. We have about 58 token holders. Um, and there have been multiple exchange networks in the cryptocurrency market that would like to list it in their exchange, but we haven't really initiated that yet. We really wanted to focus on our proposals and submitting those with the NIH. And we have been very active in sitting with a lot of the government agencies so that we can secure the government contracts that we need. Our next government agency that we're sitting with, October the 23rd, is we were invited to sit with NASA, and they've already spoken to us twice, and they've asked us to come back and talk to their team, because what they would like to do is utilize this to monitor astronauts and start to understand their conditions, so that we can actually utilize the same system for different conditions of all sorts. One of the other things that our team is looking into is mental health,
Okay.
because with going into brain initiatives and taking a look at the brain and how it's wired and what is being activated, we can actually start to take a look at people with different medical conditions in the mental health industry, and just extract the DSM-4, all of those conditions, take a look at the brain, scan the brain, and start to evaluate how do you rewire the brain function, and have that on an autopilot, right? That's constantly monitoring, predicting, and preventing things like suicide, things like an overdose. That quite prevalent in our
Yeah.
society lately, where you have people that are in remote areas or are isolated, that have mental health issues, like Demi Lovato ended up almost dying, a couple months back because she overdosed. And that's really just, it breaks my
Right.
heart to hear that such talented people are going through this mental health problems, and no one's monitoring those conditions. They're just struggling within themselves, trying to understand their condition and trying to monitor it, and not knowing
Yeah.
how. And we really feel like, if we're going to help, let's help as many people as we can. And if we can do that with a device that they put a patch on, and now, I mean, it can happen. We can be that life-threatening predictor that says, no, you're gonna live, we're gonna save you. And no matter what, it's something that we, all three of us, founders, and just our team in general, we really believe in. And we're just going after it. We're going to help as many people as we can.
No, that's great. Have you spoken to some of the accelerators in the sports sectors or other high-tech sectors?
We have spoken to a lot of different, our AR VR team that we collaborate with. They have actually gone to the tennis association, They've sat with different teams in our local area. We have spoken to the NFL directly, and we have spoken to the president of some of the different teams that that have spoken with us and said we really do need this. Let's try to collaborate and find ways of making this happen. What we are doing now is we're looking for there's a couple of universities that are conducting a lot of research on concussions, and we want to partner up with one of them in order to really have scientists help us in finding those thresholds and predictors as a good baseline with what we want to initiate for the NIH.
I love your project. Can you talk which universities you're referring to?
Yes, so right now, UF, University of Florida, USF Health, University of South Florida are our local ones, and University of Tampa. But my business partner, she is from Vanderbilt University as well, and all three of these universities are Research One universities, and they are known for their research. So for us, it's a privilege to work with them. We went there, we are graduates and alum, and so we're going back to our roots and getting the right research teams together. We do have 28 doctors. If you go to our scicoins.com and look at our team, there are 28 different doctors that have joined us as our advisory board for the medical side of what we're doing. And each of them represent a different university that they want to collaborate with and partner up with. So it all depends on what condition we're going to be working on with the project, and then bring in that team or set up that team to be like the principal investigator or the co-PI for that project, working with my business partner Joy, that is a neuroscientist, and will be able to lead the team into the right direction.
No, I love this project. As I said, that this is one of the top use cases that we are looking at it. We are mostly a Series A investors, but what I can do is that I can actually help you out in connecting with many people. And
Sure.
what I can do is that let's have a discussion offline. Can you send me the
Sure.
pitch deck? And I will
Absolutely.
to talk to Joy, who is the chief scientist, and what we can do is that we can go through all these details, and we'll see that how we can help you guys out, especially in the pre-seed and the seed round.
Absolutely. Yeah, Joy would love to speak to you directly. She has a lot more medical expertise and would be able to really go deep into the proposals and what she's done in the past with a lot of different universities. And all of the research that she has conducted in the past is very beneficial and has really initiated a lot of our projects now. So definitely, we will send you our pitch deck and continue the conversation.
Yeah, I will introduce you to some of my other venture capital partners, and we can see how the discussion goes. I will also share my email address with you so that you can send those details.
Absolutely. And yeah, whomever you would like, we are very open. This is a project that's bigger than one entity, and we love partnering up because it will enable us to really make that impact that we're looking for. This industry is very big, and there's a lot of opportunity, not just between us here, but just in general.
Yes.
If people are looking for solutions in health, then partnering up is the way to do that, because it's so much bigger than one company, and we have to be open to explore everything in order to find that true solution that's going to save lives.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is something that not just it has one use cases, there are multiple use cases in so many areas, and partnership makes you strong. And as a global venture fund, I think this is something we can help you guys out. And I love the project. And you guys are so passionate about it, and there's so many opportunities out there. So let's connect, and I'll share all the details with you. Okay?
Okay, sure. I will send you our pitch deck and we can continue.
Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Alrighty, bye.